From me to you, Sports Talk. What you expect? It ain't about who said it first. It's about who got it right. Want to welcome everybody back. I am joined here today with my main man, Marcus.
How you doing, man? How you doing?
We just watched Ohio State and Indiana. I wasn't really that impressed. Now, I'll say this. I'm not going to jump to any conclusions right now because I remember last year when Golden State started off playing and they were getting bullied. Golden State defense wasn't that good. And a lot of people panicked right away. I'm not going to do that. I think Ohio State definitely needs to get their offense moving. I don't think they're going to be able to rely on that running back all year. He's a beast too. What was he? A true freshman. Number 2 Dobbins, I think. He looked good. I think he was the first true freshman. He was the first true freshman to ever start at Ohio State. That says a lot. The first true freshman, having Eddie George, Archie Griffin, Claret, all those guys, and he's the first true freshman to really start. Like, he shouldered a lot of that offense. Like, he basically did everything for them last night, and it was so funny because as I was watching Ohio State offense, they was running plays that you would run on man. Like, they would have like 2 receivers on the right, 2 receivers on the left, and those guys would just like cross in front of each other. And Indiana cornerbacks and stuff just couldn't keep up with them. They do have speed, but, you know, oftentimes we say JT Barrett needs to get better. I definitely think the receiver core has to improve, and I think this offense has to be more formidable. Like, I think this offense really needs to not look the same by week 10, and I don't think that they'll look the same by week 10 because, honestly, going into this season, I got Ohio State as my favorite as of right now. Before I even get to see Alabama and Florida State play, I got Ohio State, and I picked Ohio State about 2 weeks ago because I think coming off of that butt whooping by Clemson, man, that was bad. And I think Urban Meyer really put a lot into these guys this year, and I don't think it's going to happen again.
Wow. I mean, you picking Ohio State early, man. You got a lot of faith in that program. You know, on the game last night, I'll take that for a second. Ohio State, you know, it was first game. So they're going to, you know, you're going to come out sluggish. Normally these teams will go out and they'll play Sisters of the Poor and, you know, run up a 52-0 score, and then they'll have a tune-up for next week, right? For these kickoff classic games and playing tougher games early in your season, I think it's reflective of people wanting to be able to get into the playoff, so they did not schedule these cupcakes, right? So to start off with a conference game is important. You know, it's important and it's significant. But I think last night, Ohio State was just a team that has a lot of young players. They replaced a lot of guys. JT Barrett wasn't quite in rhythm. I mean, you saw what one receiver for Ohio State, he dropped a touchdown pass early in that game that would have put him up. Now, Indiana, on the other hand, let's not take anything away from them for a second. They had their quarterback, Richard Legal, and that receiver, Simi Cobbs.
Man, he was beasting.
Yeah, that guy's a pro prospect, man. And basically they had a mismatch. Ohio State's cornerbacks couldn't deal with that guy, and they exploited it. Now, Ohio State figured it out, and ultimately depth is what won them that game. You know, Indiana doesn't have the depth. That's what it always comes down to. And that's reflected because in the second half, they got shut down. But I still didn't get a good feeling from Ohio State.
I didn't. I really didn't either.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, Urban Meyer has been around and he does all these different things to innovate, but I still feel like something's missing, and maybe some of that offense will kick in later. Defensively, I think they'll be fine. They got Greg Schiano running that defense. I think they'll be good, and that defense is what's going to help them get through some of these early struggles. But I mean, you saw Clemson shut them down last year. I think people kind of want to use that as a blueprint. Maybe they don't have the athletes that Clemson has, but they're looking at how do you attack this Ohio State team? And I think you saw some of that with the way Indiana was having success early. You know, Ohio State got off to a slow start, and they really just didn't have their established playmakers. So
You're right.
I don't know if I'm ready to pick Ohio State.
No, wait, now wait, Marcus, because I know people probably listen to me like, man, this guy's crazy. I picked Ohio State like 3 weeks ago because I thought the Urban would really get these guys routed up. Now I'm not going to back off my pick because it's a preseason pick, but you got to assess what you're dealing with, basically. So Ohio State problem was, man, they lost 3 of their secondary personnel to the NFL. So that was and like Marcus was alluding to, that number 8, what was it, Cobb Jr. was just killing those guys. And it's funny because they ran like the Indiana receiver route tree is not hard at all to comprehend. I said, okay, whenever you're going, man, they threw the same route literally probably out of it. If they dropped back and threw 40 passes, they threw a go route or a fade basically maybe 20 of those times. Like it was simple. Or they would do a comeback. Or they would do a back shoulder throw. So I'm like, why not show man and drop back and go zone? Because as soon as that quarterback seen Ohio State was, pressing up, they did the same route every time because of the size advantage of Indiana receivers. So I think that was very big, but you actually hit it on the head. Indiana was not that deep, but I like Ohio State opening up against Indiana. I wish it would have been somebody like Ohio State versus USC. I'd rather see big non-conference games to open up, and we're actually about to see one of those big non-conference games. Florida State and Alabama, Marcus. Oh man, it really don't get better than this right here. Like this is what it's about now.
Yeah,
I got to go to the USF game tomorrow to cover that, and watch them. But this game was at 8:00 at night. I'm sorry, I don't think I would be at the USF game tomorrow.
Yeah,
you have Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher, 2 great coaches.
Yeah, this is true. See, so the thing with that game is, and the funny thing is, I have tickets to the USF game, but I'm a USF alumnus, go Bulls. But I got a lot going on tomorrow, so I'm probably not going to make it. So I'm at the,
they're going to blow Stony Brook out,
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I'll make a donation and I'll apologize to the Bulls.
Yeah, that's all right. You can come back when we play Illinois.
Exactly.
Because Illinois is actually coming down here, which is going to be a good game.
Yeah, that will be a good game. And that's really the only game USF is going to not be, well, they're still going to be probably favored, but that I think they have a chance to lose. USF is going to be a, group of 5 contender to make a big bowl game if they just do what they know how to do. So it's going to be very interesting for them this year. I mean, with Charlie Strong, obviously the defense,
yeah, you're right. You know what? We might as well talk about USF for a bit. Alabama, hold on right quick. We might as well just get on this. I agree with that. I was actually watching that game and I was like, okay, I like the pass defense. I don't like the run defense at all.
Yeah.
I like Quentin Flowers. I like what they were doing with him. And you know how valuable that is to have a upper class quarterback, a leader of your team.
Yeah.
They was down 16-0.
Exactly.
And if this was maybe an uncomposed true freshman or a redshirt sophomore who didn't have the experience of Quentin Flowers, man, that would have been a big drop. And I don't care if you blow every team out by 50 points. Ain't no way those voters letting y'all get into any bowl game, any New Year's Six bowl, getting beat by San Jose State the opening week. I'll definitely say that.
Exactly. And the thing about it is that that's an MO that they've carried over from Willie Taggart. They used to get behind early in games or start slowing games early last year. And sometimes I'll watch the game and I'll be like, they've been scoring 50 points and all this other stuff. And do you realize that USF right now has a streak going of scoring 30 points in 18 straight games? The next, it might be 18 or 30. I got to look it up. It's one or two. It's 18 games or 30 straight games. They have scored over 30 points. That is, who the next closest record to that is 12 right now.
So Who is that? Like maybe Houston?
I don't even know who it is. Yeah, probably, you know. So USF is doing some big things. They're ranked. They got some momentum. Charlie Strong has an opportunity. He inherited a good offensive team. He just needs to go in there and get that defense playing at the level. I mean, think about it. If you can get that defense that he built at Louisville or that defense that he built at Florida with this USF offense, they're going to be a difficult out for anybody.
You know what? It kind of threw me by surprise because when I found out that he was a defensive coordinator, I'm like, wait, but his offenses have been so good. I thought that maybe he was an offensive coordinator. I'm like, because Texas, but then again, he didn't have enough time at Texas, as a lot of people say, and we saw. But that program was trending, and he also didn't have the quarterbacks that he had now. With a Quentin Flowers, he can use him. He can use him similarly to how he used Teddy Bridgewater and stuff like that. And we've seen what Bridgewater did under
under his tutelage, exactly.
Yeah, so that's going to be very interesting. But you're not going to miss anything. They're going to blow Stony Brook out tomorrow, and it should be very interesting to see what happens because that was actually a good test. And it's kind of funny because I was actually putting this up on Twitter and everything. San Jose State will test your endurance. You've seen them; they was hurry up to the line. They might have the fastest offense. I know what game was I watching yesterday? It was Indiana, and they was like, "Oh, this might be the fastest offense." But I think San Jose State has something to say about that because those guys get up their height, and they really had USF on their heels. So
yeah, they did.
They'll test you with that. But back to the big Saturday game. My bad. What were you saying?
No, I was just saying just to button that up, and maybe USF came to that game. You know, maybe they were smelling themselves a little bit. Hey, we ranked, you know, we're playing San Jose State. You know, this might be just an easy game for us. And, you know, they jumped on them early and maybe they're like, oh, wait a minute, we actually have to play. So, you know, I want to see how they conduct themselves basically the rest of the season, especially coming out against Stony Brook. Let's see what happened.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but let's jump into,
the game.
Yeah, the game.
Yeah, you could just title it The Game. Alabama versus Florida State. Man.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like we already know what Nick Saban is gonna bring in. And I said if Bill Belichick was to come down to the coaching ranks, it would be Nick Saban.
Yeah.
I think to me it'll definitely be Nick Saban prepared and nobody's above the law. That's why I love Bill Belichick, because I'm like, nobody's above the law.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady gets in there and throw 4 interceptions in the first quarter, which I hope he never does. He's getting yanked out the game.
Yeah.
Nick Saban doesn't play that. Like, you know, his defense is going to be ready, his offense is going to be ready, and his special teams number. You have to play a perfect game to beat these guys. Now, I think this is going to be a very good game. Mm-hmm. I don't see a blowout at all. I see this game scored in a 20 somewhere. I see maybe a 28-24 game, something like that. Maybe a 31-24, but I really don't see a low scoring game. And you had, wasn't it 2 true freshmen, right? Francois was a freshman, and you had what was it? The quarterback from Bama? How can I forget his name? Hurts.
Yeah,
you had Hurts.
Yeah,
those two performed pretty good last year. And I think Francois can make every throw on the field. I think Florida State has to protect him more. This guy's a candidate.
He did get beat up last year. He got beat up a lot last year.
Yeah, he did.
You know, and see what this is going to come down to. I mean, I'm going to talk about one of your other points. You said that you got to play a perfect game to beat Bama. I'm going to disagree with you just a little bit on that.
Okay.
Clemson didn't play a perfect game at the national championship game. You know, I was at that game. I had the fortunate, got fortunate and ran up on some tickets and was able to go.
Whoa. Look at you.
Yeah, man, hey, it was nice, right? So, Clemson didn't play a perfect game that game. I mean, if you think about it, Clemson was down 14-0 early in that game. Like, we in the stands, we're like, man, we did all this to get into this game and Clemson getting ready to get blown out. And then all of a sudden, the X factor, Deshaun Watson, took over, played a game of his life, and then it was a shootout, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Hurts would make a play. He would make a play, right? And then even towards the end, Clemson takes the lead. Alabama comes back, makes this great play, scores, takes the lead. And you're like, wait a minute, there's no way Clemson with like less than 2 minutes or right around 2 minutes left is going to be able to go downfield, score a touchdown and win this game. It's just not happening. They had the game won. They gave it up. That's it. And then they drove down. So the differentiator is going to be the X factor. Florida State's X factor is going to be Deondre Francois. He's going to have to come out and play the game of his life. He got beat up last year, but he still made plays. He was an X factor for them. I think his running ability, his throwing ability, and Jimbo Fisher's play calling and brains is going to be critical. The other side of this, though, that is key. Florida State has faced, tough defenses, and their offense is geared to play against those defenses. They have enough playmakers where they can make plays. Bama, on the other hand, although, look, the SEC is good, they face all these defenses and things of that nature.
They don't face QBs.
What is that?
I said they really don't face the most elite QBs in the SEC.
Exactly. They don't face the pressure from the offensive side where they have to get into a shootout.
I agree.
Which is what Clemson did to them. Think about those last two national championship games, the one where Clemson lost and then the one where Clemson won. Those things were shootouts. Bama got tired. They're like, man, we're just getting stretched all over the field. This guy's making every play. These receivers are catching everything.
Okay. Now, you're right. But wait, Morris, now you got to credit some of that to Bo Scarborough getting hurt. Because if Bo stays in that game, they pound the ball. And Clemson couldn't do anything with him. So they also caught a break right there as well with Bo Scarborough get hurt. And you were absolutely right. Yes, you don't have to play a perfect game, but if you don't play a perfect game, you better have an X factor like Deshaun Watson or Cam Newton. Because I know you remember when Cam Newton came back on 28-7. Yeah, they ain't play a perfect game, but you have elite NFL talent quarterback, and your quarterback has to be able to pass and run. There's no way a pocket quarterback will beat Alabama. I've said this forever. Mm-hmm. There's no way a pocket quarterback will beat Alabama. I can almost bet anything on that. I don't care. Go get any pocket quarterback in the NFL and put him on any team. I don't care. You go get Rosen. I don't care. You go get the guy from Wyoming. Mm-hmm. You go find anybody. Go put him on the best team right now, whoever you think is the best team, and they won't beat Alabama because their defensive line is just way too fast and they're way too athletic.
Well, and I agree with you on that. And I think the other side of it is a very simple thing. And this is one of those things that you have to look deep inside the game to think about. Alabama, because their defense makes so many plays, it causes an effect. It causes two effects, right? One of them is their defense gets on and off the field. They're playing less plays. They're getting less tired. Number two, their offense is on the field, getting chances. They're running Scarborough. They're pounding you. You're getting tired. Your defense is getting worn down. If you notice, Alabama had this war of attrition early in the game, and it'll be 7-3, 10-7, 13-6, or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And you're like, man, this team is hanging with Alabama. Then in the second half, all of a sudden, Alabama starts to pull away. And all of a sudden, these holes are opening up. They're having these big plays. Then they hit you with the play action, hitting people down. Hurts is running all over the place. Now, all of a sudden, Alabama scored 10, 12 points in the first half. Now they got 49. And what Clemson was able to do is they got into that shootout with them, that back and forth, and Alabama couldn't employ, even though Bo Scarborough did get hurt, that was a factor. Mm-hmm. Alabama couldn't just go back and pound the ball, wear your defensive line down, and then say, hey, we're good. So they had to pass the ball. They had to stay in the game. And the thing is, Alabama has a schedule and a certain way they want to orchestrate and play that game. You have to get them off of that schedule. And Florida State has the ability to do it. Will they do it? That's what we're going to have to see.
But they have Derwin James. This is a guy who I seen last year. What was it? Florida State first. I don't know who it was again. I forgot. Don't Ole Miss. When I see this guy in this Ole Miss game now, I'm like, who is that? Like, this dude flying everywhere. He's definitely, and I think he's everything that he's really hyped up to be. Mm-hmm. This guy will be big time. Now, I want to see how Florida State defense is going to react to adversity, because we've seen Lamar Jackson, them guys get up on them, and it was like, okay, what happened? They really didn't respond too well. But this is a different test, and it's week 1. I'm sorry, Marcus. I'm not picking anybody against Nick Saban week 1. I'm not. You just gave this guy this. Like, Nick Saban knew who his team was going to play for months now. You give this guy like 3 to 4 months to really prepare for your team. Mm-hmm. They lost Dalvin Cook, but they got the number 1 running back in the nation, Cam Akers, I believe, to go there, which is good. And this is also a knock that I have on Florida State. For some reason, you're in Florida. You have all these athletes. Why is Florida State receiving core like never one of the best in the nation? Like, this is just coming from a fan watching the game. When I watch Florida State receiving core, okay, I've seen Calvin Benjamin, I've seen Rashard Green, and, you know, some of the other guys they've had. But, like, as a whole, Florida State receiving core is never just, like, top notch. For some reason, it's like, who's going to be that go-to guy for Francois to really throw the ball to? And because you're going to have to make some big plays in the passing game as well. So who's going to be that receiver? That's what I'm most interested to see. Can they beat the man-to-man presses? Or like, because your receivers will have to make some plays, as we've seen Laquan Treadwell did when he played for Ole Miss against. And then we also seen Mike Evans. We seen Mike Evans just torch Alabama secondary. So, and what happened? Both of those guys are in the NFL, by the way. So that's going to be very important.
That's true. But you got to think about it like this too, right? Florida State has had that problem for a while. I mean, you know, name the last, like, you know, top-notch, great, top 2 pick type receiver that has come out of there and made heyday in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? They've always, you know, Rashard Green was a good college receiver, but he hadn't really done anything with Jacksonville, you know? So Florida State, so kind of how Bama beat you with the defense. Because what I will say about Bama's defense is this: they've had some fantastic players on that defense.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, even with all the guys drafted, how many of them have actually made an impact in the NFL?
You can probably count on one hand. And let's be honest, out of the like under Nick Saban, for all the people out there listening, they got Marcel Darius.
Yep.
They got my boy Dante Hightower.
Mm-hmm. I mean, C.J. Mosley. I don't know.
Yeah, you can throw him in there. I don't want to miss nobody.
Yeah,
it wasn't Mark Barron. It hasn't been any cornerback, because it hasn't been any cornerback who came out of Alabama at all.
And D. Milliner was just a bust.
Yeah,
D. Milliner was a bust.
It hasn't been any cornerback. I mean, it's kind of
you see what I'm saying? So that defense, the strength of Bama is the collective.
Yes, I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? A bunch of good players coming together with a couple of great ones sprinkled in, and you have a formidable unit that is communicating and operating as one unit. Now, Florida, what I would say for Florida State is Florida State's strength is on the collective of the offense. But what they had as a centerpiece last year was the Dalvin Cook component. And he was kind of the jet fuel to make that offense run. So you had Dalvin Cook back there doing his thing, the big threat. And then what they would do, people would focus and key on Cook. And then these other receivers out there, they would sprinkle some passes at them. Francois would run a little bit. They do a little play action. They'll dump it off to the fullback sometimes. And Florida State always, traditionally, their offense hits the tight end. They throw to their tight end, and they've always had good tight ends. Now, the key to it is, and I wouldn't focus on the receivers as much, with Dalvin Cook gone, who is the person they can lean on and say,
it's going to be that running back?
You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
I think it's going to be the running back.
Yeah. But can he hold up?
Good luck running on Alabama. Like, good luck trying to, as a running back. As a running back, good luck trying to run on, and Marcus, you said it again. Alabama, literally, if you go look at their defense, so let's just say this. Out of their defensive linemen, linebackers, and secondary, and some of their second string, out of 11 starters on the field, I'm telling you, probably 9 of them are 5 stars and 2 of them are 4 stars. Okay. Mm-hmm. When you look at teams like, let's just say a big Division I school like Illinois. How about I use Illinois? I'll use Penn State. When you look at Penn State defense, and Penn State is ranked number 6 in the nation, right? Yeah. Or how about USC, who's ranked high as well? When you look at their defense, those are big schools. They have maybe out of 11 starters on their defense, maybe maybe 6 4-stars, maybe 3 5-stars, and sprinkled in with 3 2-stars. Now, we know those stars don't really mean nothing because it starts over once you actually get in college. You have to make a name for yourself. Mm-hmm. But like Marcus said, when you get a collective of those 5-stars, a bunch of those, pit bulls playing with each other, like, you know what, this is what we gonna do. We gonna have this mentality, man, it rubs off on the whole team. Big time.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And see, and that's really the thing. I think it's all about preparation too, because you did give Nick Saban a lot of credit. He is great at preparing for these games. But let me bring up one particular thing with Jimbo. Jimbo is a very intelligent coach, and he will have those guys ready. He will have something. To give his team an edge. Now, is it going to be enough? I don't know. But Jimbo knows that Nick Saban's probably been studying film tendencies. Obviously, they have a relationship from previously. They know, they know each other, know how each person thinks. So it's going to be a chess match. Jimbo is going to have to find a way without Dalvin Cook cooking that offense anymore to generate points. And most importantly, it's really not even about necessarily the scoring early. What Florida State's going to have to do is stay on the field. Stay on the field.
Keep that drive going.
We'll keep their defense fresh, and that'll allow their defense to hold up a bit longer. Yeah, Florida State has depth. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But Alabama is accustomed to this system. They rotate a bunch of guys in and out of that defensive line. They're just used to doing it. That's just their cadence. And if you let them get your offense on 3 and outs and off the field all the time,
it's over.
Yeah, it's over. So Florida State has to sustain drives, put pressure on them, make Nick Saban change what he wants to do. If you let him dictate the game to you, you're right. You're not going to win. You have to dictate the game to him at some point in that game and have him on his heels.
Hey, agree wholeheartedly with that, definitely. And we've seen it, actually. We've seen Alabama in those kind of, situations. Like, it's been plenty of times. I've said this before. I just watch Alabama just to see who's going to beat these guys. Like I'll tune in just to see. Once they go 21-0, change the channel because you're not. Usually, I'll say usually, you're not coming back. Usually, You're not coming back on them now. Francois is going to have to make some big plays. I mean, some huge plays with his leg. Definitely to be Alabama. And I really hope they can protect this guy because I really like his arm. Like, I like what he brings to that team. Definitely. Like I said, he can make everything on the field. But if you can't take those hits because your offensive line isn't protecting you, then I don't know what to say. A Jameis Winston halftime speech ain't going to save y'all. I mean, this ain't Ole Miss. This is not. And Ole Miss is a team who has some of the most potential in the world. I'm sorry for my Ole Miss fans listening out there. Ole Miss has some of the most potential in the world. Some of the best potential, I should say. And we've seen them get up on Alabama last year, and they can't. They beat Alabama, I think 28-7. Alabama came back on them after halftime. Mm-hmm. It was something like that, but. Just like Marcus said, sustaining drives, but this is perfect for college football, Marcus. I'm telling you, it need to be like this. I'm so sick of seeing these big schools playing and no disrespect to Jacksonville State, because Jacksonville State actually beat Auburn. Mm-hmm. Jacksonville State actually beat Auburn and stuff. Well, 2 years. I think 2 years. I was actually on deployment. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, I was on deployment, but I don't want to see these games no more. I want to see week 1, Auburn versus USC. Week 2, Auburn versus Ohio State. Like, it really needs, like, if y'all want to make y'all, claims to get into these playoffs, you need to play teams. I'm so sick of these week 9. Like, I need to pull up Ohio State's schedule. Like, who is Ohio State's biggest? Oklahoma? Come on. We can't go off names. We can't go off names.
But let's just pause for that for 1 second. And this may be a little bit crazy. I think the Big Ten may be one of the top conferences this year. Because you got to think, right?
I've been hearing that.
They got Michigan State. They played Michigan. And I don't know how good Michigan State's going to be this year. They play Nebraska. And they play Penn State. I mean, those 4 games. I mean, because, okay, who do you think is the second best team in the SEC?
Okay, you kind of put me on the spot. If I had to say the second best team, I heard So Auburn supposed to be good, but I never know about the quarterback situation. I want to say maybe LSU. I like Geis. Darius Geis is he's definitely going to the NFL.
Exactly.
It might be LSU or Auburn.
So, and let me just drop this little tidbit of information on you. Okay. So, how many SEC teams are ranked in the top 10? Just off the top of your head.
On top of my head, okay. Alabama, maybe one or two. I'd say probably Alabama or Auburn.
Just one. Just Alabama. Auburn is 12. Okay. LSU is 13, and Georgia is 15.
Okay.
So think about
Georgia too. Okay.
Yeah. So think about that, right? Mm-hmm. You got 2 ACC teams in the top 10. Mm-hmm. All right. You got
3 Big Ten teams there, right?
Three Big Ten teams. So that's what I'm telling you. The Big Ten is.
I'm not believing. I'm not buying the hype in Penn State. I'm sorry. I'm not buying the hype in Penn State right now. I'm just not. It's hard for me to really. That's like USC. USC. No, I'm not buying hype in USC.
Do you know what the common thread of both of those teams are?
They have a good quarterback.
In college football, if you have a quarterback, you're going to win a majority of your games. And you just then need other things to happen for you when you need to get over the hump against Alabama or some other team like that. I mean, like we talked about Deshaun Watson, because Clemson defense really last year in the national championship game, they really weren't that good. They came up with some stops when they needed to, but they gave a lot of points.
But that's the biggest thing you just said. Stops when they needed to. Exactly. They ran like 90. Clemson offense ran like 90-something plays.
Exactly.
So did the Patriots on the Falcons. The Patriots defense wasn't the best. But when it was time, my boy Dante Hightower and them boys said, we about to stop this running game. You're not about to keep doing these tosses on us. You ain't about to keep doing these dives. And they really, wore out the Falcons defense. Because if that was 2 quarters, the Patriots would have got beat. And if it's 2 quarters, Clemson would have got beat. So
exactly. Yeah. So that's really the thing there, man. The SEC has been living a lot on reputation, but this is what I will say. Let somebody other than Alabama go win these championships. Yeah, Clemson had one, but that was an extraordinary player. They had Cam Newton. If you take Cam Newton off that team, they ain't win no national championship.
Wait, Clemson, just for the listeners, Mark, because I know what you're talking about. They're going to say, wait, not Clemson. Clemson had Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Watson.
Yeah.
I know you had Deshaun Watson, but we got to correct that.
My bad. Yeah. Clemson had Deshaun Watson. Auburn had Cam Newton. But think about it. Outside of Alabama, you take away the one anomaly year with Cam Newton. You take away the Tim Tebow years from Florida. Who else in the SEC has done anything? LSU. That's about it. Georgia. They're
beating up on each other as well. But then again, they also go to bowl games. They also lose as well.
They lose. And then they say, well, it's because we're uninterested because of the season and we got beat up. That's their excuse every year. But I mean, come on, man. Every game you go play, you're representing your conference. And if you want to sit here, come on, you got Leonard Fournette in the NFL talking about something. Oh, this ain't that fast. I played in the SEC. The NFL ain't much faster.
I think he's speaking just a little too quick. Just wait.
Exactly.
Just wait till Cam Chancellor get a hold of you, because Cam Chancellor going to have something to say to you. And I'm telling you right now, ain't nobody in college hitting like Cam Chancellor. I don't care.
Exactly.
How big they are.
And especially Leonard Fournette is not a scat back. Leonard Fournette is I'm going to try to run you over back. That's not a recipe for longevity in the NFL. You ain't going to be trucking everybody like you were in college. So my thing is, if you're going to sit there and claim you're the best conference and say all this stuff and you're so much better than everybody, you don't get any leeway in a bowl game when you got beat by Texas Southern or something, or TCU or whoever it is, to say, well, it's because we're uninterested and then we get beat up during the season. Like, you can't say that. Don't even play the game then. Just don't accept the bowl invite and stay home. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at it right now. I'm not seeing, because think about Georgia. Like Georgia's ranked 15. But I can't, outside of Nick Chubb.
Yeah. You already know Georgia, Mark. You know Georgia's story every year. We know Georgia's going to go 5-0. They're going to meet Alabama. They're going to get blown out by 14 points, and they're going to lose like 4 of their next 7 games, 4 of their next 6 games or something. It's always a story with Georgia. Like they train so much, and then Alabama comes to play them, and they just steal their heart out. And you know what, Georgia, I hope y'all hear this. And it's actually encourage y'all to play better. Because y'all got way too much talent in that state of Georgia to be getting blown out every time by Alabama. Like, every time. every time y'all get blown up. Y'all got too much talent for that, man.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
You're right about that. And no, before we get out of here, I want to talk about another thing. LeVar Ball. Now, we've heard of we've heard of the Kardashians. Now y'all have to be introduced to the Ball brothers and the Ball family. I don't know if did you catch their show, Marcus? Actually on Facebook? It's actually a pretty good show, 20 minutes long.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch it. I was going to try to catch up on it this weekend. Oh,
yeah, you definitely got to catch up on it. He actually gives you insight and stuff about his family and how hard he's trained his boys and stuff like that. And his wife did have a stroke. LeVar Ball wife did have a stroke and stuff. And that's what Lonzo was going through during that tournament. I was like, what's up? So not only was he hurt, but he found out his mom had a stroke before the tournament. He was contemplating even playing in the tournament. So that's news right there. And, a lot of people like me, I was like, come on, man, let De'Aaron Fox go at you. What's up, Lonzo?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like, I know you better than that. But that might be part of the reason. But this guy has really made a brand for himself. He's really made a name. And I really appreciate that, definitely. A lot of people knock him and they might not like the way he goes about it. But, he's making life for his family outside of basketball, because we know basketball won't always be there.
Exactly.
However much they getting paid from Facebook for doing this, I applaud the man. They got a platform. He said all three of my boys went to the NBA.
Yeah, and you know what? This is what I would say to people who criticize the guy. If you had the opportunity, you would do the same thing for your family. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to do what he thinks is best for his family and his kids, and he's not worrying about what other people are thinking. Anybody with children would do that, and the fact of the matter is, I mean, let's be honest. Whatever the market will pay is what will be done. LeVar Ball is out there shopping a product, shopping a brand, and people are consuming it. And think about it. Every time this guy says or does something, it goes viral. These sports sites get page views. People are tuning into these shows to watch him in an interview. And they're talking all this trash like, he needs to go away. Stop tuning in. If you don't want to see him, stop tuning in. So the fact of the matter is, he's entertainment. LeVar Ball is entertainment. And he's found a way to monetize it. And you know what? Good for him. I'm not going to knock anybody for trying to take care of his family and find get his little piece of the pie, as the Jeffersons would say, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that big time, man. But everybody, I got to tune in tomorrow night. Tonight, Saturday night, 8 p.m.
Yep.
Which I should actually.
The game.
Right, yes, 8 p.m. The game.
The game.
It's going down. Alabama versus Florida State. Predictions? What are your predictions?
I'm a Florida native, born and raised, USF graduate, University of Miami football fan, because that's where I was born. I grew up in Tallahassee. Always kind of despised the Seminoles, but I'll root for them sometimes, And in big games and big spots like this, I still firmly believe that the state of Florida plays the best brand of football. I'm going to take Florida State. It's less than 7 points.
Oh, that's a good going. Okay. All right. I think a very close game. I see a 31-24, and it could go either way. I just don't see Nick Saban. Nick Saban's not losing the first game of the season. And, I could be wrong. But this loss will not damage Florida State at all, because it's like, okay, you'll get to see them again in the playoff system of 4, which I'm pretty sure, Marcus, you agree. They got to move that playoff system to 6 or 8, but you know what?
8 would be perfect.
8. Definitely.
8 would be perfect. Because you know what? And just one last point on that. The reason why 8 is perfect is because right now, being a conference champion doesn't mean anything.
I agree. Washington should have been in there.
Exactly. So my point is, they should have winning a conference championship. You get an automatic bid. So you have 5 teams in there, 3 at-large bids, get those teams in there. And then you play like a regular payoff type schedule. 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7,
I agree.
On down the line. If Washington was really supposed to be in there, they're going to play one of the at-large teams probably, or one of the other conference teams, however it breaks out. They're going to have to prove themselves against multiple opponents who are supposed to be top-flight teams. Because to be honest with you, Penn State deserved to be in there. Penn State beat Ohio State. They deserved the opportunity. And the way Penn State was playing at the end of the season, I can't say that they might not have done something. Because when you have a quarterback, you can make anything happen. So I think 8's the perfect format. I don't know if it'll ever happen. It probably will eventually, but I think 8's perfect.
I agree with that. So hopefully we see that. And like I always say, it's not about who said it first. It's about who got it right.